Hello there, you're watching Al24 News. Coming up next, our news program, and we are starting with the latest in the Algerian-French relations. And French President Emmanuel Macron regrets his statements that offended Algeria, its people, and history. This was stated by his advisor in the presidency during a press conference on Libya. Asma reports.
Amid a diplomatic crisis between Algeria and France, and after insulting statements by French President Emmanuel Macron, his advisor amid a diplomatic crisis between Algeria and France, and after insulting statements by French President Emmanuel Macron, his advisor at the Élysée expressed Macron's regret over controversy caused by his statements. French President's advisor says that
French President regrets controversy and misunderstanding caused by late statements. He is very devoted to the development of relations between France and Algeria.
Statements of French President's advisor came to melt ice and pave way to restore warm relationships between the two presidents before Paris conference to be held on Friday in Paris, on Libya, in presence of 30 heads of states.
President Macron has the greatest respect for the Algerian nation, its history and sovereignty. He wants mutual relations to develop in interest of Algerian and French people, considering major regional challenges. Starting with Libya. Algeria is a major player in the region, and French President wishes Tebboun's participation in the conference.
The confirmation of Élysée that Algerian president received an invitation to attend Paris conference on Libya undoubtedly draws attention. However, Algeria's participation or not will indicate current Algerian-French relations.
Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune received the Vice President of the Libyan Presidential Council, Moussa Al-Kouni, accompanied by a Chief of the Staff of the Libyan Army, Lieutenant General Mohammed Al-Haddad. Moussa Al-Kouni praised Algeria's support for his country in order to restore stability and extend security in all Libyan territory, emphasizing that President Tebboune is very keen on the work of Libyan people to strengthen national cohesion in Libya. Algeria and Turkey aspire to raise the level of their economic relationship to a strategic partnership, with the two countries heading to sign an agreement to launch a free trade exchange zone. Ascending economic relations were not immune from some countries that view the Algerian-Turkish rapprochement as a threat to their influence in Africa. Zahra Farjani reports.
Algeria and Turkey share fruitful and prosperous economic relations that are likely to develop with trade exchanges that the two countries aspire to raise to $10 billion around 2030. Algeria also occupied an advanced position in terms of contributing to the strategy of diversifying dependence on Turkish energy imports and imposed this same importance on the Turkish, prompting them to increase their investment in Algeria so that Ankara would soon turn into the largest foreign investor in Algeria. Ankara's openness to the African continent is only possible by strengthening the economic partnership with Algeria, the largest continental country and the fourth largest economy in Africa. The emerging relations between Algiers and Ankara threaten some countries' regional plans, as the French-Algerian economic relations relapsing helps escalating its counterpart, Algerian-Turkish relations. This appears to be a historic opportunity for Algiers and Ankara to get rid of the French influence.
Moroccan Airlines announced on Tuesday it has launched a direct air flight between Casablanca and the occupied Palestinian territories, which came about 10 months after the normalization of relations between Morocco and the Zionist entity, in response to the aspirations of the Moroccan community in the occupied Palestinian territories wishing to travel to Morocco or to the Palestinian occupied territories. Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh said Tuesday evening that the Palestinian Authority is facing the most difficult financial situation in years in light of the decline in Arab and international financial support for the authority, as financial aid has fallen below 10%, which negatively affects the operational conditions of the authority. Zahra Farjani reports.
The Palestinian government held an emergency meeting yesterday in the city of Ramallah in the central West Bank to discuss the repercussions of the financial crisis faced by the Palestinian Authority. At the beginning of the meeting, Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh said that the financial situation is the most difficult in years as a result of the failure of the brotherly Arab countries to fulfill their financial aid over the past 2 years, with the continuation of illegal Zionist cuts to Palestinian funds. With the exception of Qatar and Algeria, most Arab countries no longer fulfill their financial obligations towards the Palestinian cause, while Algeria pumps $55 million annually to the Palestinian Authority, in addition to various other aids directed to the brotherly Palestinian people. Shtayyeh said that some U.S. aid to UNRWA has resumed. However, the laws of the U.S. Congress prevent the U.S. administration from directly helping the Palestinian Authority. This comes simultaneously with the convening of the International Donors Conference on the 16th and the 17th of this month in the Belgian capital, Brussels, which, according to a member of the Central Committee of the PLO and head of the Refugee Affairs Department, Ahmed Abu Huli, is of great importance in mobilizing financial resources for UNRWA. With this difficult situation, politically, the United Nations adopts 4 UN resolutions in favor of the Palestinian cause. For instance, the second resolution called on all donors to continue intensifying their efforts to meet the authorities' needs of financial flows.
Polish Prime Minister accuses Putin of masterminding Belarus border crisis. Poland said Moscow was behind the wave of migrants trying to illegally enter Poland from Belarus. More in this report.
Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki accused Russian President Vladimir Putin of orchestrating a wave of migrants trying to illegally enter Poland from Belarus. The accusation came as thousands of desperate migrants were trapped in freezing weather on the Belarus-Poland border, where the presence of troops from both sides has raised fears of confrontation. Thousands of migrants from the Middle East, South Asia, Africa, Poland and fellow EU members Latvia and Lithuania have attempted to illegally enter Poland from Belarus. The EU accuses Lukashenko of trying to destabilize the EU by encouraging migrants to its borders in retaliation for sanctions imposed on Minsk over its regime's dismal human rights record.
How Lukashenko regime conducts this operation, this very, very inhuman, unacceptable and actually illegal operation, is that they reach out to potential clients, to these potential travelers, through seemingly official channels. Belarusian consulates, Belarusian embassies, travel agencies, and other intermediaries which are issuing, for example, visas and telling them, okay, you can come, and then transport will be organized for you to go to the border.
Belarus denies the claims and accuses Poland of violating human rights by refusing to allow the migrants in. Both Poland and Belarus said between 3,000 and 4,000 migrants were now in an improvised camp at the border near the Polish village of Koznica.
To the U.S., where the increase of food prices makes the situation more difficult. The nation complained about the surge in food prices ahead of 2 important dates for U.S. nationals, including Thanksgiving and Christmas. Ayedi Usama reports.
Food prices surge makes the situation more complex for U.S. government and food banks. Just after oil production controversy that took place over the last 2 weeks between U.S. President Joe Biden and OPEC+. U.S. food banks are already facing food price increase that wallop the nation ahead of Thanksgiving and Christmas.
I come here because I need food for my family. You know why? Because the stores is very expensive, the food, and my money is not enough.
You know, it's going to be an expensive Thanksgiving. Turkey is not going to cost like the way it was, and they're not giving out turkey, so thank God they're giving out the chicken.
Supply chain issues and disruptions created a critical shortage in numerous basic foodstuffs for the people, and the higher costs mean the nation will have limited quantities as substitutions for elementary necessities. Food banks that expanded amid unprecedented demand brought on by the pandemic won't be able to absorb forever food price surge. That's 3 times higher than what it used to be 9 months ago.
The increase in food prices is a real challenge for meeting the needs of people who are struggling to put food on the table across the country. Our food banks are seeing prices that are 2 to 3 times what they were just 9 months ago.
For its part, China took exceptional measures urging the Chinese population to stockpile food. Bottlenecks at factories and ports make the process of getting all kinds of food more difficult and challenging, and turns the situation more critical even for the world powers and poles. Who knows what this food shortage will lead the world to in the next days, at a time when price increase and inflation are the dominant criteria for the current economic systems worldwide.
And after the US riots that took place in White House, Prince Harry claimed that social media may help the spread of misinformation and boost social unrest. Islam Seed.
The Duke of Sussex claimed that he has not received any response from the Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey since he sent him an email warning that his platform led a coup to be staged. He says he sent the message right before Donald Trump backers broke into the U.S. Capitol building after the former president's false proclamation that the 2020 election was counterfeit.
So the vast majority of information was driven by just 10 accounts in the US and Russia alone prior to January the 6th, where I warned him that his platform was allowing a coup to be staged. That email was sent the day before, and then it happened, and I haven't heard from him since.
Prince Harry made an unexpected disclosure during a Rewired panel event on misinformation in the US. He stated that the impact of social media platforms, including Twitter, might permit organizing the outbreak, which left 5 deaths. The 37-year-old lives in the US after he stepped aside as a major member of the royal family beside his wife Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, last year. As a member of Aspen Institute, which looks into disinformation in the media, said he was mailing Jack prior to January 6th, when he cautioned him that his platform was led in an upheaval to be organized. He added that he learned from the beginning that the spurs of publishing are not necessarily associated with the incentives of truth.
And finally, during nearly 8 decades, the United Nations headquarters in New York has collected valuable works of art, which made it an important and attractive cultural place. Marwa takes us in a tour inside the corridors of the international organization headquarters through this report. Let's follow.
Approximately 400 works of art were submitted by 115 countries. This historical treasure is stored at the United Nations headquarters in New York, which hosts gatherings that examine the world's concerns and issues. Supervisor of the United Nations Technical Group, Warner Schmidt, stated,
"The piece of art should not disturb other countries and should address everyone in the same positive language."
For nearly 8 decades, the United Nations headquarters in New York has collected valuable works of art from states and individuals, including works by Marc Chagall, Henry Moore, and Fernand Léger, establishing it as an important and attractive cultural station in the Big Apple city, despite the fact that many people are unaware that it contains this figurative treasure.
This is not a museum, of course. We work within an international organization that has art from donations and sometimes even furniture donated by countries to us, designed by major artists.
The dazzling golden painting is a gift by Saudi Arabia, decorated by a pearl-lined palm tree. A gift from the Kingdom of Bahrain is among the works on display. At the entrance to the General Assembly Hall, which is the heart of the organization, you can find the most unique works of the Brazilian artist Candelo Portinari, the 2 War and Peace wall panels opposite. These unique works of art, which reflect historical events, artistic movements, and the unique characteristics of donor countries, make the New York headquarters an appealing cultural destination, awaiting its reopening to visitors during the COVID-19 outbreak.
That's all for now. Please do stay tuned for our main English news edition at 6 p.m. with me, Nadia Kasmi. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.